Good evening, everyone. This is the George here, and this was a stream I kind of put together last minute, but only because this was a topic that I've wanted to talk about throughout the week, but I haven't, but I didn't know when I wanted to do it, so I figured might as well do it tonight. If you are new here, be sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already. Now, for those of you who don't know, my goal this year is to reach 500 subs, and we are currently at 110. So let's make that dream a reality or that goal a reality. And I'm joined by Blue Jay. What's up, Blue Jay?
I'm muted. How's it going?
Oh, but by the way, do I sound okay? I'm using a new mic right now, so I just want to make sure I'm sounding okay.
Oh, you're sounding very crystal clear. Crystal clear.
Yeah, because the headset that I've usually used for streams, it's slowly going, so I just want to make sure. So this is kind of like a test. I've been using this mic for my reviews.
Yeah, it's pretty loud and clear. Pretty loud and clear. You're good.
All right, how you doing, Blue Jay?
Well, doing pretty good. Doing pretty good. It's just raining outside, but
Yeah, it's been raining all day for me as well.
yeah.
But yeah, I've wanted to do this topic for a while, and especially because the scoopers are saying that there could be an announcement of Tom Holland's fourth Spider-Man film, as well as maybe a release date. Like production could begin as early as this year, and I'm kind of curious because after how No Way Home ended, and obviously they want to get this movie out before Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars. Do you think we're gonna get an announcement soon?
I think we will. Like probably not like probably somewhere this year. Um, it means Spider-Man 4 is inevitable at this point. Um, I think I do think we will. Maybe not this year. Well, yeah, this year. Probably probably like start filming like somewhere in 2024, maybe 2025. It's looking likely. It's like an appropriate date, in my opinion.
Yeah, cause Ember, who's usually got a pretty good track record when it comes to Marvel Spider-Man scoops, said that a Spider-Man 4 announcement is fairly imminent. So if you guys caught last week's stream, which was actually my most watched stream so far, the one where we talked about Sony and the whole thing with Black Cat, and we also brought up Ember on there. Basically, we talked about that controversy when it came to what's going on with Spider-Man movies, what characters. But Ember basically said an announcement could happen pretty soon. How soon? I'm not too sure.
Yeah, I'm guessing. Um, I think they might hold out a Spider-Man 4 announcement maybe after Across the Spider-Verse because that's their big release.
Yeah, so I remember the scoopers or rumors were saying that a release could happen was originally going to happen in 2024 around the time Daredevil Born Again came out. But honestly, the rumors are now growing that it could be 2025. I'm gonna find the tweet that said that because I think a scooper said it. I don't know if Ember retweeted it. I'm gonna look for it real quick. But I think it kind of makes sense because not just Across the Spider Verse, but Beyond the Spider Verse is coming out in 2024, and I don't know if Sony.
Oh, right.
So I don't know if Sony wants to do two Spider-Man movies in the same year.
Yeah, it's looking. Yeah, 2025 is most likely because we're having like two Into the Spider Verse films like two like each 1 year apart, which is insane to think about. But yeah. I mean, 2025, I can see it. You know, that's all I have to say though.
Yeah, and I know Ember. I'm not gonna repost it because I'm looking to see if she retweeted the 2025 scoop. But she did say apparently they don't. Sony does not want to compete against Avatar 3 because it looked like that could have been a possible release date, like Christmas, similar to No Way Home. But with the money that Avatar has been making and it just surpassed No Way Home, I doubt it wants to compete against that.
Yeah, right. Just put it like November, like, well, anywhere that they could find a good enough room to put us. I mean, if you put a Spider-Man movie on any date, it's gonna make money. But if you put it somewhere like as big as Avatar, it's best to just put it somewhere other than December.
Yeah, and I know like they always like to use the July release date as well.
July is is basically the month of Spider-Man. Mostly, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. Spider-Man I feel like has always been either before No Way Home was either a May or July release date. It kind of depended. Because I
Right.
remember the first Amazing Spider-Man, I remember that came out in July. Second one came out in May.
And then the first two, the first Sam Raimi Spider-Man 1 came out in May. Spider-Man 2 came out in June, and then 3 came out in May. And then you also got Homecoming, which came out in July. Far From Home came out in July, and then you got Spider-Verse and No Way Home both come out in December. So it's like either around those months, are like, okay, if it's a summer movie and it's a summer movie or maybe a Christmas movie, but it, Beyond the Spider-Verse is actually coming out in March 2024.
Yeah. So apparently this was a scooped up wrote that apparently Spider-Man 4 is reportedly expected to arrive in 2025 after a change in movie slates. Now, I think we kind of okay, so this account does not exist for some reason. But I remember like I think I shared it in the stream we did last week where like apparently like a lot of movies had shifts in release dates and that there was rumors that King Dynasty could get moved to 2026.
Yeah, it's possible because I think originally that they were going to have two Avengers movies in 1 year, which is I'm telling people it was never going to happen. They were going to be bumped up, like, regardless. Like, it's inevitable that they were going to be bumped up. I mean, heck, I just feel like they were kind of just, you were announcing a whole saga, the whole slate for the whole saga. I'm just like, you need to kind of slow down a bit. It's like, okay, it's cool that you got all these movies coming out, but you gotta at least announce the fifth phase before you're announcing the sixth phase. You know, just
Yeah.
yeah.
So I'm trying to find. Okay, so I can't find that original tweet that someone had, but I think this was but someone else kind of put what was originally scheduled. So I'm gonna take this down real quick and share it for those of you who may not have caught Tuesday stream. Which, by the way, if you missed out on it, go check that one out. I know it got a bit hectic like towards the end, but it was a fun stream.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, basically, like now this has not been confirmed by Marvel, by the way. But basically, the thing that's happening is like there's rumors that apparently they're trying to shift certain things.
Shift,
So
like,
basically,
release date wise.
yeah. So Fantastic. So 2025. The rumor is that Fantastic Four is still scheduled to come out when it is, but they want to put in 2025 also before King Dynasty, Shang-Chi 2, Spider-Man 4, and Armor Wars. They also want to do another Doctor Strange movie right before King Dynasty, so it looks like that would come out February 2026 if this slate is true. And King Dynasty would get delayed by a year. They
Or
would put Eternals 2 in between King Dynasty and Secret Wars, and Secret Wars would just get pushed to November and December, which I think they should actually delay that to 2027, but I'm not Marvel, so I can't make that call. But
right.
again, as much as I would like to like get into this slate, the main focus is obviously Spider-Man. But I would say it does kind of make sense that they would get another Spider-Man movie before Kang Dynasty. Wouldn't you agree?
Mm-hmm. Right. You gotta like get, yeah. So we already got No Way Home, but we gotta get another one before, because he has to be in an Avengers movie. I mean, there's no way they can pass up on an opportunity. There's no way. He has to be in an Avengers movie or in some shape or form. So
Yeah, and especially because like the multiverse has affected him a lot more than most of the Avengers so far.
Oh yeah.
So like it would make sense that he would want a stake in it. It's like, you sacrificed, your people knowing who you are, including your loved ones. Like you don't want that sacrifice to be in vain.
Got yeah. Yeah. So I'm just like, uh, I mean, like the whole, like I said, they didn't just like phase 4 was condensed into 2 years, but it should have been like three. Like we had 2020 was supposed to be the year, but pandemic and all that stuff. But it was a blind and braille.
Hey,
But
Blind Braille. If you want a link, I can send you one, Blind Braille. I do have it in one of the group DMs. But
yeah,
yeah, with this film, I definitely think this film is going to be a lot more grounded than obviously the last two Spider-Man movies.
oh yeah, it should. I think it should be that way because I think we already, you know, I mean, we're dealing.
What up,
We
Ferris?
it was up Ferris, but we dealt with like multiverse stuff in the last one, which is kind of which was a lot bigger, like bigger and badder than ever. But like I think we should just scale it back to be a more traditional Spider-Man movie, and then
Yeah.
just hopefully we might get something completely different, a completely different villain, not like the same stuff that we got.
Okay, Blind Braille, I understand. I hope you get better, by the way.
Get well, dude. Get well.
Yeah, especially because, like, don't get me wrong, I love all three of the MCU Spider-Man movies that we've gotten. But I will say, even though, and this might be an unpopular opinion, Homecoming might be my least favorite in the home trilogy. I still like the movie a lot, and one of the things I've grown to appreciate it compared to the other two was that it was like a simple, grounded Spider-Man story that didn't have to have like world-ending consequences.
Oh yeah, exactly. You can't have a movie in your universe that can just be a small stake kind of film. So something similar as like kind of like the first Ant-Man in a way, or the Ant-Man movies, the first two at the very
Yeah,
least.
and while I love Far From Home and No Way Home, it's just like you want Spider-Man to kind of get back to his grounded roots. And thanks, Blind Braille. Yeah, I also you're also a mod. And Blue Jay, I think I also just made you a mod recently
Yep,
today.
you did.
All right, yeah, thank you. But yeah, I would definitely say like a more grounded approach I think is needed because obviously you no longer have connections to Stark Industries. You don't have any connections to any of the Avengers.
Yeah, it's just I just want to see how they're going to, because like most of the characters in the MCU live in New York City. So how are they going to? I mean, they've done stuff like that before because he Homecoming takes place in New York, and then Far From Home they went to Europe, and then they went back to New York City. But uh, I don't know. It's just like you can't make a traditional like grounded Spider-Man movie. I just feel like every character is like all around New York City.
Yeah.
Like, you get what I mean?
But I mean obviously that'll be a topic we can bring up when we talk about, what MCU characters should cross over cuz I
Oh
feel
yeah,
like obviously Sony's going to want like other Marvel characters or at least another Marvel character to be in the film. I mean, Homecoming, we got Iron Man. Far From Home, we had Nick Fury. No Way Home, we had Doctor Strange. So I feel like we're still probably gonna get someone in there.
right.
Who like what character Marvel characters do you think could possibly be in Spider-Man 4? And I have a feeling about one of them, but I want to hear what you think before I share them.
Uh, shoot, I can't think. Let's see. I'm thinking like in terms of like allies, like maybe ally wise, I'm thinking Silver Sable. We haven't gotten a Silver Sable on the big screen. It's just Sony, not Sony or whatever. But I think Silver Sable would be a good option. Or
That'd be very interesting.
I'm thinking about characters we haven't got in the big screen yet. You already have Vulture. Um, What about Shocker? Like bring
Well, we
like
but we kind of got Shocker in Homecoming, but it's
oh
like maybe you can bring Shocker back with like much upgraded armor.
yeah, Scorpion. You got
Oh, Scorpion, yeah.
Scorpion. Villain. Well, yeah. Oh yeah, villains.
Well, we want to get to like allies or like what heroes could be in there before we get to the villains.
Oh right. Let's see. It's too. Is it too early to bring Harry Osborn in there? Because I feel like we just got him like so many times at this point.
Uh,
Like
as far as like the Superior Spider-Man arc, Blind Braille, I feel like it's still too soon in like the MCU to do something like that. I would definitely say though, I can see like Spider-Man being a bit more hardened in this film. Like he's still doing his quips, but like he's also like not holding back at times.
right, right. Like you see him when he did to Goblin in the last movie.
Yeah. And hey, Sideways, how's it going? But I to me, these are like two characters that I feel like could be likely to appear at least one of them. The first one, I feel like Daredevil could appear in there in some shape or form.
Makes sense.
Um,
Daredevil.
because I
Um,
know the rumors were like Born Again was going to connect with the upcoming Spider-Man film.
I haven't heard that rumor.
Well, like that was like something Ember brought up. I think that was back when they were looking at 2024 as a release date. So I don't know.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know if the plan changed. But like but I wouldn't be surprised if like Daredevil because he's a grounded vigilante. And another one that I I think could also be likely is I feel like another New York character could be like Kate Bishop because we already saw her adventure in New York. And if the rumors are true that like Captain America New World Order could be like a new Avengers kind of movie, I can and like she's part of that roster, I can see her like being the young hero trying to recruit Spider-Man to join, but Spider-Man not wanting to join.
That could be possible. I can see some story elements that could just interwoven together into something like that. You got Hey Bishop. What about that one kid from Falcon and Winter Soldier? That's Isaiah Bradley's. You know who I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, I forgot the name, but he could be possibly be in it. There's I think there's so many possibilities that they could what characters they could add. But I think I'm just kind of like thinking. I'm thinking about like maybe this one would just be just like a traditional Spider-Man movie first, and
Yeah.
then the other two will be like just add other characters in there.
Yeah, Daredevil definitely makes the most sense, especially if they're gonna go with in Born Again the story arc of Kingpin being mayor or running for mayor.
Oh,
And yeah, like it looks like the crime bot they could go with a crime more. That's something I would like to see as well, and I'll get more into that later. And yeah, Tombstone is someone I would like to see in live action. Um,
Hammerhead.
Sideways also brought up how about like Captain America being in Spider-Man 4 or Sam Wilson. To me, I feel like if he didn't have a movie coming out like because I think it's not official when the release date of this Spider-Man movie could be. But I feel like if it's definitely 2024, I can't see Sam Wilson being in Spider-Man right afterwards. Maybe if they stick with if they go with the 2025 release date, I can see Sam Wilson maybe trying to recruit Spider-Man and Spider-Man rejecting it. What do you think? Can you see like also Sam Wilson maybe playing a similar role to the one I gave Kate Bishop?
Yeah, I can definitely see Cap doing that because that seems more like a Captain America thing to get to ask Spider-Man to join a team.
Because also here's the thing, I think it would also be a nice way to kind of do a reversal of Homecoming, where he wanted to be an Avenger and now it's like he prefers working alone.
Yeah, like kind of like yeah, give us some space and then like trying like to find his own identity you could say, like after No Way Home. You see what life is like with him, like everybody not knowing that he's Peter or whatever, like Spider-Man is Peter or whatever, like
And I feel like again, like to me, like that's why I think Sam Wilson and Kate Bishop would be like the two most interesting characters to try to recruit Spider-Man because I feel like they're more optimistic. And I think Spider-Man, like he might lose some of his optimism after what happened in No Way Home. And maybe these are like characters that can bring back his optimism.
Oh, that's yeah. You know what? I never even thought of that. Bring back his optimism. Yeah.
Because like I feel like you got to go in a different direction with this Spider-Man movie, not just go back, not just like grounded, but like also like have it where like maybe he like I'm not saying he has to be like definitely don't do that, but like make him like in a place where like while he's helping people, he's not the Spider-Man that he once was,
Yeah, he's more. I guess you could say more mature, in a way.
or like he feels more isolated in a
Right.
sense, and like not like making Ned or MJ remember him, or like not like at least trying to start new friendships with them, like has taken a toll on him. Like kind of show that like No Way Home, the events of No Way Home had an effect on him.
Right. Right. Like really, like kind of dive into that kind of uh, place in his mind that like, well, he's just by himself, like his, you know, Aunt May and all that stuff, and not really know who he is. It's like there's so many. I think there's so many things you could do with that kind of story. If you can just make him like all that stuff, just have a kind of like a negative effect on his mind that he's not as optimistic as he was.
Oh, hey Tony, how's it going? Yeah, you know this would be pretty interesting as well because like these are like well, at least like most of these like aren't are lesser known Spider-Man villains, but I feel like these could also be interesting to introduce. Rocket Racer, Prowler, Willow the Wisp, Sandman, and Puma. I mean, I know we've seen Sandman, but you can introduce some of these other characters.
I never heard of the Outlaws before. That's how much obscure they kind of are. But
Um, Prowler definitely should appear because like you kind of already have like Donald Glover like played Aaron Davis in Homecoming.
right,
Yeah, Prowler does needs to come back, and I think like if you do go with that gang war kind of thing, you can have it where maybe he's working for a gang lord because of maybe something that happened with the blip or the snap, where maybe like Miles and his family vanished and he went to harder crime because of it.
you know what? Yeah, so something kind of like the Spider-Man PS4 game where they kind of delve into some like the more street level villains, crime lords, like was it Hammerhead, like to do with the big forehead,
Yeah,
Hammerhead,
Hammerhead.
Tombstone. I don't think they've never even done something like that. It's always like big extravagant villains. But we do need something like that. But I haven't seen a Spider-Man movie, as far as I know, that doesn't delve into like the crime stuff, like the street level stuff. Kind of like a little low stake, but something that's different than just big extravagant villain fictional, with powers and stuff.
Yeah, that's kind of why I think the Batman worked out so well because it was a different kind of Batman movie where like it was a grounded Batman story and like the villains didn't have to be like super powerful or anything.
Oh
Like
yeah,
Riddler had this like big impact.
I
And you
think they
can have
should.
a side villain like the Penguin, like have like Hammerhead or Tombstone be like that side villain that still has a major impact that can lead into future stories.
There you go. I think we cracked the code.
Like, here's the thing. The thing is like, there's like, I feel like the MCU Spider-Man doesn't have to do another Doc Ock or another Electro or Lizard story arc. Like I feel like Spider-Man has such a big gallery of villains that you can do it. Like here, like Tony's bringing up all these villains that are like, they're minor villains that, like, if you're a diehard comic book fan, you're gonna know who they are. Like I know who Puma Rocket Racer is. I know Will o' the Wisp, but like general audiences aren't gonna know them. But it's like I feel like you can like maybe have them tied into some gang lord or something, like in the movie.
Oh yeah, I'm looking up some of these characters. Black Tarantula. I was like, this design looks pretty cool. I could totally see that in on screen. Hobgoblin might be the next villain. The framing. What do you think of the whole Hobgoblin thing? Like with Ned being a Hobgoblin.
I'll get to that soon because I want to address like what Blind Braille said.
Right.
I don't think Spider-Man has gotten stale in media. I think the comics, though, it's gone downhill. Like I think Spider-Man is fine with like whether it's like the MCU or like the Spider-Verse movies and like the video games. I think the problem is just the comics have just like there hasn't been any good comic book story arcs with Spider-Man. And yeah, I don't want Spider-Man to become too generic, but it's like I want them to also touch upon like things we haven't seen on film, like the gang wars, and obviously what you brought up with like Ned and Tony also brought up as well. I don't want him to. I don't know if he would frame Ned Leeds though. I don't want that, but maybe have it where like because the Hobgoblin is Roger Kingsley in the comics, a billionaire. You can maybe have it where maybe Roger Kingsley is like this big tech guy that Ned works for, and Ned gets caught up in it because he's unknowingly making Hobgoblin tech,
Hmm.
and he gets caught in the middle of it.
That could happen. That could be but that there's some potential. I mean, they're they may be bringing those two back, but I kind of don't want them to just at least for one movie.
Yeah, so Ferris obviously says he doesn't want to see Ned MJ again. Yeah, Peter should definitely at least in one movie maybe have a new group of friends. I mean, that's kind of part of the reason why the Black Cat thing is not going to happen. Like, apparently they want like MJ to be in the next movie.
Yeah, that's. I mean, I'm fine. I mean, hey, they can come back anytime. It's not like they're gonna be permanent or whatever. Like, come on now.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing, and this is kind of like one of the things I want to also get into on this video. I feel like to justify bringing them back, or at least one of them back in this film, you got to have have a significant like time jump. Like, you know what I'm getting at?
It's like, yeah, like 5 years, 6 years, like some.
I would be okay with even just like 3 or 4 years at least, but like if you're gonna like have this in like the first year of college or even second year, that's still too soon. Like, kind of show it where maybe Peter's at least, halfway done with like ESU. Like he got into ESU through his GED, and like maybe like he's in his third or fourth year of college when they come back in his life. But it's like I would like to see like the MCU versions of like Miles Morales and Harry Osborn. I don't know. I don't think they're gonna do Gwen Stacy. I would like to see Felicia Hardy.
Felicia Hardy. I mean, you can um shoot. I can just search up any other characters. I mean, I still don't know about Miles Morales. That's just me personally, but you can bring in. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't know about Gwen Stacy, to be honest. Like Felicia Hardy. Who else? Like a rendition of. I'm sorry, I'm just looking it up. I mean, I'm just.
That's all good.
Yeah. Or get like another kind of love interest. Well, not love interest, like something that's not Gwen Stacy or whatever. Like a character that nobody knows. Like, or no, actually no. You can like bring Jessica Drew, but as a different character, kind of
Yeah.
like, or I'm just looking through the wiki and stuff like that, but you get what I'm talking. Or,
Yeah.
well, no, I was about to say Eddie Brock, but I was like, no, they can't do that. I was about to
Well,
say that.
you can. Well, here's the thing: you can probably do an MCU Eddie Brock, but I would do him differently than what we've seen already in movies. So, like in like Spider-Man 3 and Venom, he's either like a photographer or journalist. If I was to do Eddie Brock, I would do like the Ultimate Spider-Man, Spectacular Spider-Man Eddie Brock, where he starts off as a friend of Peter Parker's, but then becomes like an enemy, like with the black suit and then Venom.
Right, that could be possible.
One way I would do it is like have it where like Eddie Brock could be like the first person Peter becomes friends with after everything, and they because maybe they bond over no longer having parents because in the Spectacular Spider-Man, like basically Eddie's parents died in the same plane crash as Peter Parker's. That the parents used to work together,
Oh,
and while he may not know who Peter is, like maybe they realize that their parents died in the same plane crash, and that brings them together or something.
yeah, I can kind of see that that could work.
Because I don't like, I would like to see Harry Osborn, but I also don't want them to repeat that Harry Osborn becomes a villain trope either that we've already
Right,
seen in two franchises.
twice. So like I think yeah, in one of them is completed. It's a completed arc on his own. And
Oh, Tony's here. Hey, Tony.
What's up, fellas? I see you're talking Spider Man, so I figured I'd jump in.
yeah, yeah, a lot of fun stuff.
I hear you guys talking Osborn, but you know they basically said there is no Osborn in the MCU.
No,
Oh,
that is true. Tony, I think your volume's down.
Let me see.
But yeah. Well, the
Yeah, it
thing
is.
is like if you find a way to introduce the Osborns in the MCU, and I'm not saying they have to, they can maybe have them like come from like Europe or something. Like a popular thing with the Osborns has always been they've gone to Europe or something. Like when something happens, like in this Spectacular Spider-Man cartoon, Harry Osborn went to Europe to get over his green addiction when he was taking the Goblin serum.
Well, they've done that in the comics, and
Yeah, they've done that in the comics as well.
he also faked his death, went to Europe, started a whole cult, came back, did that whole clone saga thing.
what about someone in the chat says Carly Cooper? I don't know who that
Oh,
is.
so after Spider-Man Brand New, so basically No Way Home kind of took influence from like what happened in the comics, where like they kind of had it where everyone forgot who Peter Parker's secret identity was, and like also like Peter and Mary Jane's marriage got erased.
That was dumb.
Yeah, it was dumb, and like Carly Cooper was like the love interest, the new love interest of Peter Parker's for a while.
Oh, hmm.
I mean, if you
Well,
want to do something different, you can introduce Carly Cooper.
why,
Carly
why don't they just
Cooper.
introduce Cindy Moon?
They can do that as well. There's a
Oh,
lot of characters I feel like they can introduce.
or who was that one? Yuri from the game. That the cop
Oh yeah.
lady Yuri. They could introduce her in some shape or form. I'm just my mind is all over the place because there's so many characters that I thought they had. How many there were?
Well, they got so many strings out there hanging still. You got Matt Gargan is still, he exists. He never became the Scorpion, but we know that he becomes Venom in the comics. And you got the symbiote that conveniently stayed in the MCU, so they could turn him into Venom, and then turn around and give it to Flash Thompson, so he can become Agent Venom and spin that off.
That'd be kind of
Oh
cool.
man. Oh yeah,
Cindy.
Cindy Moon was technically in Homecoming.
Yeah, she's getting a show or something.
Yeah, but yeah, she is getting her own show.
And you could introduce Morlun as the villain, the guy
Oh yeah,
hunting spiders.
oh yeah, Moreland's another one that you can introduce. That's what I mean. Like they don't have to like go into the Green Goblin Doc Ock well. Like Spider-Man has so many villains.
Well, I
Let's
mean,
just hope.
not to cut you out, but they could really do a good thing with like show Moreland show up, throw a Spider-Man down, and then it's Tobey Maguire or Andrew Garfield that he killed, showing that he's
Oh,
going from universe to universe.
oh yeah, that would be an interesting way like to also do things. I don't know if I would do that for the fourth film. I would keep things grounded, but like for like the fifth or sixth film, that definitely would be an interesting possibility. And Blind Barrel did suggest this: if you do an MCU Norman Osborn, it would either be Iron Patriot or Ultimate Goblin.
Well, they already introduced Iron Patriot into the MCU.
Yeah, which is why I think they should go with Ultimate like Green Goblin if they do like another like Osborn story.
I don't think they are. I think they pretty much in what was it? No Way Home. They pretty much said that there is no Norman Osborn. Remember, because when Osborn showed up, they're like, "There's no record of him at all in the universe." So I think he just doesn't exist. There is no Osborn in that universe.
That is true. I just made the suggestion of like the Europe thing because like what if like he's like the Osborns live in Europe but they don't have a company yet and maybe like it becomes a rising company.
Yeah, that could, but I think that they're just trying to like they don't want to retread old ground, so they're just like, look, there's
Yeah.
no Osborns. It's just not.
Because like I know that Scooper Ember also brought up how like if Harry Osborn was to be in Spider-Man 4, he would just be a minor character. He wouldn't even be like a major character. Yeah, Blind Barrel also brings up this good point because Sony's doing the Silk show. Silk's most likely not going to be in the MCU.
Right. Oh, right. They are making that show. Hmm.
Yeah, Rodney is War Machine now, but I'm just saying they introduced the whole Iron Patriot armor and all that.
And that was before like Sony and the Sony deal happened.
Yeah.
So we did talk about Silver Sable a little bit at the beginning. I don't know if Sony still has plans to do a Silver Sable movie. If they don't, I think Silver Sable is a possibility for the MCU. Any thoughts, guys?
Not
I
as a
mean,
villain. I mean,
I think she isn't. I think she was. All I remember from Silver Sable is that she was in the game, the PS4 game, as the from the DLC. I think she kind of ended up teaming up with Spider Man. So
yeah, she's a mercenary. She has her
Yeah.
own mercenary group, and they just go around doing mercenary shit. You know, so
right,
sometimes she's technically a villain, right? Because she's working against Spider-Man's interest, and sometimes she works with him. Sometimes she hires him to do stuff.
yeah. Or what about? I'm trying to. It's kind of to me. It's a little hard because my knowledge of like other characters beyond Venom and all that stuff is kind of it's very limited. Just this is I don't know, big wheel. I don't know.
Yeah, I get it might be a little too early, Brian Rail, and yeah, I'm excited for Spider-Man 2 as well. It's just like with like the rumors and like it looks like they're starting to like cut what characters can make it and not make it. I think it's like an interesting topic to get into. And the thing is like there's so much you can like do with this with like between time gapping characters. And if they're gonna start production this year, I have a feeling they're gonna start casting people this year. So does anyone think Scorpion's gonna appear at all in Spider-Man 4?
No.
I don't think so. I mean, that I think that character is just kind of is really like underutilized. I mean, they should, but we haven't seen like Scorpion like in the suit in live action. So
I think they changed their plans, what they were going to do. Because it did look like they were going to make a Sinister Six, but then they pretty much did that in No Way Home. So
technically, yeah.
I mean, I think it can still work if like you maybe have one of the villains like create the Scorpion suit for Gargan. And if you bring Jameson back in because Jameson's obviously connected to that villain's origin, like perhaps like you can like utilize that because this Jameson is very hostile to Spider-Man.
Oh yeah.
And
Nice.
Blind Barrel did bring up a good point. Like the actor Michael Mando is done with Better Call Saul, so maybe like the actor does have the free time to do it if he's
yeah, but
interested because he has to be interested.
yeah, that's why I think they'd probably bring him in as Venom more than if they were going to bring him in as Scorpion.
Yeah, that was another thing that I remember. Blind Braille also like brought up like in a stream with like me, him, and Aaron, where like he thinks that's a possibility. Yeah, if they don't do an MCU Eddie Brock, I think like Mark Gargan being Scorpion would make sense. I remember that was an interesting time in the comics when when Mark Gargan was Venom.
Yeah, and we could see maybe Matt Gargan gets the Venom symbiote. He's being a more deadly Spider-Man and do that whole thing where like Spider-Man's like, who the hell is this going out there? You know, with my design, people think it's me, and he's like killing criminals, and he's basically has to stop the evil version of himself.
Yeah, but I know like the scooper Ember also had a scoop a while back saying that like they're not gonna have the symbiote appear in Spider-Man 4, and they might wait until like Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars.
But the symbiote's already there. It's not like
No, I think like the symbiote like bonding with like Peter Parker or whoever.
Yeah, that's.
I think. Go ahead, Blue Jay.
I don't know. I think it's. I mean, they. I think they should. Like I said, I think the Spider-Man 4 will be like kind of maybe I don't know how you say it, like a reset kind of movie. Like, well, not reset. Like a movie with like without MJ and Ned, just and then more like a starter movie in like this new trilogy or whatever. And then they might bring the symbiote in Spider-Man 5 or all that stuff. It's kind of like they're just building that up in
Yeah.
some shape or fashion.
First off, I hate scoopers because they're all full of shit.
Yeah,
Well, because the symbiote comes from the Secret Wars storyline in the comics, so the Scoopers are probably just like, oh yeah, they're gonna wait till Secret War to introduce the symbiote into the Tom Holland verse, just because they're basing it off of the fact that it's in the comic like that, right? It's not actually a scoop. It's just them trying to connect dots of things that are already there.
Right, right. I just usually I take it with a grain of salt, but usually I just look at it just like whatever. I'll wait till it's official. It's fun to talk about it though. It's fun.
yeah. So Ferris thinks like they could do an MCU A Rock and Roger Kingsley. Roger Kingsley makes like the most sense.
Yeah, like I said, he could fill in for Norman Osborn. They could turn Kingsley basically into the Norman Osborn of the Tom
He
Holland verse.
I think he's definitely going to be the Goblin of the MCU, the Hobgoblin, because we haven't seen him yet, and I think maybe they can like Roger Kingsley will look at like what happened with like Green Goblin when he was in the MCU and feel inspired by that.
Yeah,
And the thing is, Hobgoblin, he's different from the Green Goblin in it that like he's more like a crime goblin, like he's been involved in gang wars. So like it's something different, but like it still gives Peter Parker PTSD that someone riding around on a glider wearing a hood is like and throwing pumpkin bombs is like around again.
yeah, that could be an interesting take because he sees like the news report, hey, there's some guy flying around, and he's like, how's this possible? You know, everyone is supposed to have gone back to the universe. What's going on? And he's got to try to like figure out who this guy is and the mystery of who is the identity of the Hobgoblin.
To be honest, I would actually take like a lot more grounded of a Spider-Man movie, like what George said, something like the Batman, something that's kind of like a a character like a villain that's very but threatening but not like a super powered being like a tombstone or a hammerhead like a crime gang lord or whatever. It doesn't at least it's something that's a little bit it could stand out on its own.
I think you'd have too much to. There's too much to unpack for them to do that, right? You'd have to introduce the characters, why they're menacing, why Spider-Man of all people is afraid. Why didn't he just go in there and beat them up? He's Spider-Man, right?
Yeah.
Like it'd be like too much buildup, I think, for one movie.
That is right. That's true. Well, unless you make it like a 2 or 3 hour movie like the Batman is.
Yeah, well, I don't think this is definitely not going to be as long as No Way Home. But yeah, like some of the villains that'd be interesting to introduce. Like if you're going to introduce like criminals. I mean, obviously Wilson Fisk, the Kingpin, would definitely be the one I would look forward to the most. And I think Vincent D'Onofrio has said he would like to be in a Spider-Man movie.
Yeah, even hey, if you want Kingpin movie, just do it. Just make a script, plan it out, and then Sony doesn't need to do all this weird stuff. It's mostly just Sony's doing.
Why don't they just introduce the Legion of Losers?
I
No, seriously, you could have a montage at the beginning of the movie, right? Show Spider-Man beating them up each individually, and then in jail, like the five of them decide, hey, wait a minute, we could work together to defeat Spider-Man. They're pretty obscure characters, right? The Spot, Grizzly, was the Kangaroo,
Oh, so that's where the
the
spot
the
comes
Gibbon,
from.
and Frogman.
Um, that would be a very interesting group of villains to introduce a Spider-Man movie. Yeah, we could be kind of cool. The spot.
Yeah, the Spot. I'm curious to see how they're gonna do the Spot and Across the Spider Verse.
Yeah. Uh, what else?
But I do think it'd be interesting if they go like if they are connecting with Daredevil Born Again, they do the Kingpin like running for mayor or becoming mayor story.
Yeah. What
Like
else?
that would definitely be interesting. Let me see if I can bring up this article that like kind of hinted at it.
It would be interesting, but I think right, you got to have Sony and Marvel play nice together. You're gonna build your Spider-Man movie to lead into a Daredevil property, or vice versa. You're gonna have a Daredevil property lead into a Spider-Man movie. It doesn't jive. I don't think they would do that. I don't think either company's gonna have, yeah, we're gonna build your property up, and ours is secondary to lead into your show, or our
I
show is gonna lead into your movie, so you make all the money.
I definitely think that Sony and Disney have a better relationship now than they did back in 2019 when things kind of went sour for a
Yeah,
while.
well, I agree, but would make more sense financially, right? If Spider-Man has the Kingpin, and if the Daredevil led into a Spider-Man movie, Sony's gonna get a big chunk of profits. Whereas if a Daredevil thing led into like a Defenders movie, Marvel keeps all the money, right?
Well, unless they make some kind of negotiation where Spider-Man appears in like let's say Fantastic Four, not just like King Dynasty and Secret War, because that was like the original like deal, like not just to give like Spider-Man his own movies in the MCU, but he appears in like Civil War. That was one of the big marketing like tactics that they used for Civil War.
Yeah,
Eh,
but like I said, I
So
could see
like
Spider-Man showing up in something, but I don't see them
yeah,
doing like a property that's gonna lead into a Spider-Man movie. Because I mean, nothing in the MCU has ever led into the Spider-Man. The Homecoming,
that
No Way Home, and Far From Home. Nothing in the movies led into Spider-Man, right? You could watch Spider-Man standalone.
yeah, I think with the exception of like Civil War introducing the character
Yeah, but
and
even
like
if you don't watch Civil War, you could still watch the three
yeah,
Spider-Mans and no
but
problem.
here's the thing: Homecoming kind of like recaps his introduction in Civil War. So
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So you really didn't even need to watch Civil War.
yeah, I don't want to see the clone saga happening in the MCU.
Oh, bring in Ben Riley or something, or the Scarlet Spider. That's his name.
His costume was dope though. I like that.
I
Oh
like the
yeah, yeah.
costume. The Clone Saga was like one of the most confusing Spider-Man story arcs ever.
Well, because they changed it halfway through. They got
Yeah.
cold feet because of the people's reaction. So then they changed the whole storyline from what it was
Uh,
supposed to be.
Blue Jay, you know what the Clone Saga is?
I know. Uh, I know Ben Riley was a clone, but I never read the comics or whatever.
So I'm not gonna summarize the whole thing because the thing went on way too long than it should have. But at like one point they had it where like Peter Parker was the clone and Ben Riley was the real Peter Parker.
Okay, that's a little weird.
Yeah.
No, they
Here's the
wanted
thing.
to reset the Spider Verse. What they wanted to do was send Peter Parker off with Mary Jane, give him a happy ending, and then have a younger Spider Man be able to like have new storylines, new. Basically what they did with the Spider Man No More, where he was no longer married, right? They wanted to reset Spider Man's relationships with everybody and basically start fresh. So that was their way of doing it. Like, oh, Peter's the clone, send him off on a happy ending with Mary Jane, and then Ben Riley takes over as Spider Man.
Yeah,
Sounds
that was also the story arc. Like at the end of it, they brought back Norman Osborn, and it turns out Norman Osborn was alive all this time. That was what like Tony was talking about before.
Yeah, that wasn't supposed to happen.
And then they killed off the clone. But like also
Several
like
clones.
yeah, they killed off like several clones. And here's the thing: at a certain point in the Clone Saga, everyone thought Aunt May died, but then it turned out she didn't die.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and also like Mary Jane was also pregnant during this storyline, but then like the unborn child died.
Unless you go into the future, was it M2 universe where she becomes Mayday Parker, Spider Girl?
Yeah, it was just a lot was like really happening, and at one point like Ben Riley became Spider Carnage.
No, no, that was a different.
Spider
Was it Spider?
Carnage.
Yeah, he did get possessed by the Carnage symbiote.
Yeah, he got possessed by like the Carnage symbiote because like this stuff was happening like after like the Maximum Carnage story arc.
Yeah, but you forget the part where after it's all said and done, Ben Riley dies, and then years later they decide, hey, let's bring back Ben Riley and turn him
Yeah,
into the
it's
Jackal.
just a big mess. Yeah, they brought the Jackal back as well. The Spider Island, that storyline.
Isn't like Ben Riley still running around? Like, isn't he suing like Miles Morales over the Spider-Man name?
Like Spider-Man comics are so messy at this point. It's like I've just given up.
Yeah, that's why I don't really read them. I can read. I can grab a comic and just read it like any other. But trying to get into like some of the more like deeper lore aspects, like the whole clone stuff. I don't know. It's just it could get a little confusing. Clone Spider-Man: The Clone Wars or something. I don't know.
Here's the thing: this was like Marvel's way of trying to compete with DC because DC had like Nightfall and like Death of Superman in the '90s.
Oh,
So I think that they were hoping this would be like their Nightfall or like their Doomsday, and it just like because Marvel was like not doing so well in the '90s, and it actually kind of made things worse for Marvel.
Yeah, because it's so convoluted.
Like it was just like a big mess. I will say the '90s cartoon did it better, where like they just brought Spider-Man from different universes.
Yeah, I didn't really like that. The '90s
Uh,
cartoon was hit or miss.
that was the only thing that annoyed me about that cartoon was Spider-Man. There's this weird rule that Spider-Man cannot punch.
Well, also there was
what?
no guns; they were all lasers. The
Yeah,
cops
they're
had
the
laser guns. Pew, pew, pew.
well that I didn't mind, but the fact that like Spider-Man was not allowed to punch was just weird.
Like you're a superhero. What are you supposed to do? Make peace?
No, he would just shoot people with webs. Pew, pew, pew.
Yeah,
Like
I
he,
remember hearing this rumor as well. Sideways. The thing is, I don't think they're gonna do an adult trilogy. I think they're just gonna do a college trilogy, or like his young adult year trilogy, like a combination of both.
so we will never get the Peter B. Parker trilogy.
Well, here's the thing. I like Tom Holland has hinted while he likes the role, he doesn't want to do it forever.
Yeah, you gotta like branch out and all that. Like after you're kind of like finished playing the role, like your biggest role.
Oh my goodness, Marcus. I'm not even gonna highlight that, Marcus. but but I mean, like, if they do this Kingpin running for mayor thing, I feel like it's definitely gonna have an effect of some kind of Spider-Man. If it doesn't get resolved in Daredevil Born Again, because there's a chance that the whole if they go the Kingpin is mayor thing, there's a chance that's gonna get resolved in the show. It may not even be brought up in the movie, the Spider-Man movie.
Hmm.
Okay, Marcus. Okay, Marcus.
Oh
I
gosh.
know I know he's got this new Apple show coming out, so I don't know how successful and good that's gonna be for Tom Holland.
He wasn't Cherry, which I kind of like that movie.
I didn't see Cherry. I heard it wasn't good, but he gave a really good performance though.
He did. He really did.
But it's like if even if they don't put Kingpin in Spider-Man, there are other crime bosses like Tombstone, Hammerhead, or even Mr. Negative.
Oh, Tombstone's never gonna show up.
Do you think Mr. Negative could possibly appear?
Oh yeah, I'm just saying Tombstone because of his whole uh, black guy who's albino and gets
Oh,
bullied for being albino. I don't think they're ever gonna touch that.
oh man.
I mean, in the Spider-Man game, he's basically they changed his whole like story.
But yeah, Mr. Negative, this is a character that like when Brand New Day like first came out, I wasn't crazy about him. Like, but like the PS4 game really made me care for this character.
Yeah, he's like the first character. He's Mr. Negative was the first character I know. He like that game made me know who he is. Actually, I didn't know he was actually. Well, I mean, I would have. I assumed. Well, he is a Spider-Man villain. I would have assumed, but he's the. That's the first. That game made me know who he is as a villain in his roster now. So I mean, I can totally see Mister Negative. I mean, possibly being a movie, unless Sony wants to make a movie about him. You
That
never
would be
know.
so stupid.
You never know. Let's make a Tombstone movie. Let's make a Hammerhead movie, or yeah.
They should just make a gang war movie. That's
I would
just
like.
no superheroes. It's just the Tombstone, Hammerhead, Silvermane,
Watch you
Fortunato.
gonna make them like anti-heroes. Be like, no, this is wrong. I don't want to be a bad guy no more.
No,
See,
just like the Godfather. There's no heroes in the Godfather movie, but you still watch it, right?
Yeah, it's a Sony movie, but they're trying to make at least one of them at
but see,
least a good guy.
one thing that's kind of annoying me with like Spider-Man media outside the games and Spectacular Spider-Man cartoon is they never touch upon these like gang wars. Like they never really have these like gang wars in Spider-Man and like other Spider-Man media. So that's why I think. Oh,
Fuck.
bless you.
Thank you.
What's man?
Oh my goodness. Okay, Marcus. Okay. This is not about Adam Warlock. I honestly have no idea. It depends on how Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 goes. Let's have some Spider-Man questions in here though. Maybe when we do a Marvel stream, I'll touch upon Adam Warlock. But like I feel like Mr. Negative because of like Feast, like I can see Peter Parker volunteering for Feast still. And maybe he becomes close to like Martin Lee and then feels betrayed when he finds out he's Mr. Negative.
You know what? I can see them pull something from like the game or whatever, like small elements and all that. That's the only thing I knew from all that stuff. Um, trying to trying to think. It's like for me, it's a little hard to talk about this stuff because it's my knowledge of like I said, it's a little limited beyond like the big name characters and stuff. That's just me.
Oh, but it's all good. Tony, what do you think? Would you like to see Mr. Negative in a live action Spider-Man movie? Okay, he's muted right now. When he gets back, I'll ask him. I just feel like though with Mr. Negative, he would like the reason I think he'd be the best suitor if you're getting a crime lord that's not Kingpin, obviously because of the whole Feast thing. And I think like he's become a more popular character after how he was portrayed in the 2018 game.
Yeah.
Uh, so you asked about Mr. Negative. He
Yeah,
would
do you
be
think
interesting, but uh, his whole angle with the Aunt May stuff, I don't know how it's gonna work because remember, no one knows who Spider Man is, right?
yeah,
She's
I'm not
plus
saying
she's
he has to
dead.
know that, but maybe like he's still Peter Parker decides to still volunteer at Feast despite nobody knowing he was May's nephew, and like maybe he becomes close to Martin Lee. Maybe he takes over after the events of No Way Home.
Could happen.
And he can be like the adult figure in Peter's like new life that Peter like trusts or like looks
Why does
up
he
to.
always need an adult figure? Though I think that's
Yeah,
we've done that for 3 movies. Come on.
well, not just that. I feel like we've done this for like 3 movie series because remember he looked up to like Norman Osborn and Otto Octavius in the Raimi films.
Yeah, I think we need to like move the focus, shift him into a more mentor role. So introducing Miles Morales, the Prowler, Rocket Racer, somebody like a lower level hero that Spider-Man could take under his wing and like, oh, let me show you how it's done, and make Spider-Man the mentor now.
Yeah, I definitely think Miles Morales should be introduced in this film. I don't think he should become like Spider-Man or like get spider powers just yet.
Uh,
Yeah,
yeah.
like start like having Peter Spider-Man like grow up.
Well, they gotta do that. I know he's a teenager, and that's kind of like the whole thing. It, look, when get this grow this dude up. That's all I'm saying. Like we can, you know, the closest thing we ever got was Peter B. Parker in Spider Verse. So we haven't got a whole movie
Yeah,
in that.
Well, I don't think he needs to grow up all the way like adults, but
Well, yeah,
how
not
much?
yeah, like in his like mid-20s, but kind of like the game. Like he's basically an adult, or
oh, what do you guys think of Blind Braille's idea? So, like, I don't know if anyone remembers the character Alpha,
From the
but
Power
like,
Rangers,
apparently,
it's one of my favorite characters.
so like, Blind Braille's idea is to make him a sidekick of Spider-Man's, but because Peter Parker fails, makes him, and like maybe like it makes Peter scared to take in Miles.
Alpha. I never heard of this
I,
character.
I, I'll look him. I'll look him up for you and show you because I remember this character, but it's like I felt like he didn't last long in the
Wait,
comics.
wait! I
That's
just looked it
Andrew
up.
Maguire.
Andrew McGuire.
Andrew Maguire. Okay,
That's his name.
okay. I'm gonna bring up a picture for people who don't know who Alpha is because Blind Braille's like I'm sure no one remembers.
Andrew McGuire. When was he created?
Let's see. So this is him.
What?
I remember this, but I don't. I'm pretty sure I never read this because I was like, "What is this?" Andrew Maguire.
No, I googled it myself, but the first thing I popped up was his real name, Andrew McGuire. I was like, this has to be like extremely recent.
Okay, so his first appearance was Amazing Spider-Man 692 because I remember it was before the Superior Spider-Man stuff went down.
Yeah. Maybe they should introduce the Slingers. He could be mentor to the Slingers.
You know what? They should add him in there.
Ferris, you do bring up a good point. It has been done to death. Like the whole like villains that are close to Peter Parker. So that is a good
Trapster would
point.
be a good villain.
But yeah, no. So like Andrew Maguire. So for those of you who don't know, he was a high school student at Midtown High. However, unlike Parker, he was not a good student, completely ignored by everyone, and his parents did not pay much attention to him. See, average student, and he was content, as he was content simply not to fail, rather than trying to actually succeed.
Jeez.
Yeah, you know what? Some of this does bring up a good point by Blind Braille. He does have the potential to be a villain.
He's like an incel.
Yeah. Oh
He
my!
even calls himself Alpha. Spider-Man can hit him and like, you're not an alpha, you're a beta.
You know, if they ever go with Blinded's idea, this sounds like he can be like Syndrome from The Incredibles.
That's what I was thinking. Like, that's even his power. Even looking up his powers is similar to Syndrome. Like he can shoot lasers out of his whatever, like his finger, whatever. It's so beta.
Yeah, that definitely sounds much more interesting. And obviously, like he would be nervous to take in Miles, but like he would maybe find success with Miles later on. Beta.
I mean, the idea is good, but I don't think this character would
That's the thing. I don't think
stop
they're ever
moving
gonna.
units.
I don't think they're ever gonna introduce this character
I can
in
see.
that
I,
film.
I can totally. I can see him be like in the Spider Verse, kind of just making him a joke a little bit because his name is Andrew Maguire. Like, come on now.
Oh my, yeah, and this came out like August 2012, so it was like after the first Amazing Spider-Man movie.
He could have a sidekick called Beta. Toby. What the hell is it? Toby Garfield
Toby Garfield.
and Andrew Maguire, Alpha and Beta.
Oh my goodness, Toby Garfield. I can definitely see like Sony giving him his own movie in the Sony verse.
Sideways just said that. I swear to God, if Sony's gonna do or plan a Alpha Sony movie, Sony must be on type.
Well, do you think that the Craven movie is going to connect to the Spider-Man at all?
See, like I feel like that universe is such a mess because of like them throwing Vulture at the end of Morbius, and yet there's still no Spider-Man in this universe.
That's
I think what's in it? It's going to be the Spider-Woman universe. I think that's what it's going to end up being. She's going to replace Spider-Man.
Oh boy, and then the videos are gonna say it's woke.
Oh yeah, it's already been woke.
I mean, like Spider-Man 2009. Well, he's gonna be in Across the Spider-Verse,
Yeah,
but it's like but yeah, no, like that's that whole thing. Craven would have been perfect in my opinion in this next trilogy or the next movie.
well, yeah, because it's a little hard to talk about what villains were to get because you're already making a movie about them. Like you're making a Craven movie, which is weird. You're making a El Muerto, which is
Muerto.
El Muerto, and then
But he's not a
Hypno.
villain. He's a hero.
Oh,
But
I
he's
don't
only
know.
been in 2 Spider-Man issues.
Yeah, but he's still a hero. I mean, technically,
Can we
the
get a
villain of that comic was a different character. I actually own that comic.
Can we get a Betty Brant movie instead?
Oh my! Remember Blue Jay what we talked about in my stream from last week? The Aunt May movie they almost made.
I will see that.
Well, they're making a Madam Web movie.
Yeah.
I'm interested in that. See how that goes, but
I don't think it's going to be the old Madam Web. I think it's going to be the Jessica Drew version.
oh,
There's no way they're going to have like an 80-year-old octogenarian out there fighting crime.
Like, well, Dakota Johnson's playing Madam Web, so it's like she's like nowhere near that age.
Yeah, so I don't think she's. But I don't think she's playing. I think she's not playing the original Madam Web. I think she's playing the Jessica Drew version.
Yeah, I mean, like the set photos have made it clear it's not going to be the original Madam Web.
well, I'm just gonna wait till it drops. Give me a trailer. We'll go from there.
Well, that's not. Well, it's not coming out until 2024. Craven comes out this year.
Oh, the Craven. I gotta see what that looks like. See how
Well,
they handle
I'm
that.
gonna like find it and see like who else is in the movie besides Aaron Taylor Johnson, because I don't know. Like I'm getting weird vibes from this movie, like the other ones.
I think he's going to hunt Morbius.
Morbius.
No,
Okay,
seriously.
so
Because I think he's going to have his own movie, right? They're going to establish that he's a hunter. He's going to probably fight maybe vermin or something. And then at the end of the movie, he's going to be like, my next target. And he's like, they'll stab like a picture of mysterious man bat in sewers or something, right? Hinting that he's going to take on Morbius.
yeah, that'd be interesting. I mean, since like Morbius isn't gonna is probably not gonna face off against Spider-Man or Blade at all, you might as well have Craven.
And both of
So
them are kind of anti-heroes, so to be like, who do you root for?
So this is all I know about like Craven besides Aaron Taylor Johnson playing as Craven.
Russell Crowe's in it.
Yeah, Russell Crowe, Ariana DeBois, who was in the more recent West Side Story. She's gonna play Calypso. Fred Hetchinger is gonna play as Chameleon. Also, that's another villain that we're never gonna see in the MCU.
Well, supposedly, what's his name was supposed to be the chameleon. The one guy in No Way Home. In Far From Home.
Oh yeah, wasn't there like a guy named Dimitri in there?
Yeah. Supposedly he was going to be the chameleon.
Well, that's not gonna happen now. Yeah, I know people are gonna see Madam Web for that plot. Did you guys hear like what the rumor plot for Madam Web was?
I watched a video from 3C
Ooh.
Films saying that like
I think I know who the villain's going to be.
if I
It's two.
oh there's
You,
two villains in this in Madam Web.
you can share
No,
it,
I'm talking
Tony.
about in the Craven movie.
Oh,
Oh,
in Craven. Who do you think is gonna be the villain?
I think it's going to be the Lobo brothers.
Oh, I remember those.
Because, I
The-
mean,
the-
two werewolves, Craven the Hunter.
yeah, that was all that. Oh my goodness. Oh, those were the days when you had these characters. See, the thing is, Ferris, I can see the MCU wanting to have Miles Morales because they already had dropped the references in Homecoming. And I know what Andrew Garfield said, but the thing is like, I don't think they're going to continue the Andrew Garfield stuff. I think it's more likely that we're going to see Andrew Garfield in Secret Wars than them continuing his universe.
I mean, like I said, just their Spider-Verse movie should be their main line films while they got the MCU going up, but that's just me.
Yeah. As far as Russell Crowe goes in this movie, I think he's going to play the father of Craven. But I think that was a rumor.
Makes more sense.
But here's the craziest thing about Craven. They said he's going to be a conservationist, a protector of the natural world, and an animal lover.
Well, according to Russell Crowe's Wikipedia, he's being said to play Nikolai Kravinoff. So, yeah, I guess he is playing the father.
I mean, it's like, I like Russell Crowe, and it's like, but like, I don't know. Like, I feel like that I have to be sold on the trailer for this film because I feel like they're wasting Craven instead of doing like a Craven's Last Hunt like kind of film with Spider-Man.
They're just kind of. I mean, look, I still like some of the movies. I just think they're just wasting some of these characters. You know,
Yeah.
Craven. Who the fuck's Alberto?
Oh my goodness, 2 issues. Or who's the one that Donald Glover is going to be playing?
Hypno Hustler.
Yeah.
No, Hustler.
I was like when I first started new, I was like I'm like Giant Mounts of Guardians of the Galaxy. Who?
Yeah, so like these are like some of the projects that are supposedly still in development. Sinister Six, Night Watch,
Who?
Jackpot.
Night
Who?
Watch would be interesting.
Night
Not-
Watch.
He's like I think I heard he's like a Spawn ripoff.
Sort of.
He kind of looks like Spawn.
That would be interesting. That I wouldn't mind seeing. Jackpot, I'm not that crazy about.
Isn't she like Mary Jane?
No, I think
They
people
thought she
thought
was.
when so Jackpot was one of those characters that I'm pretty sure came out like after the Brand New Day stuff or came out during Brand New Day.
Yeah.
And like there was a lot of speculation that it was Mary Jane.
Okay.
But it wasn't.
Yeah.
It was a
That
set of
was an
twins.
interesting time to be a comic book fan or Spider-Man comic book fan.
Jackpot.
Jackpot. Yeah, like I remember like those theories of like I remember this one YouTuber like when I first discovered YouTube, like he was like like basically ranting about Brand New Day, and like he like basically like said at the end of his video, "Don't give me this Jackpot being Mary Jane bullshit."
Wow.
Yeah, so Jackpot's in. So yeah, they can. There's still Olivia Wilde still has a project despite all that weird controversy with her "Don't Worry, Darling" movie.
Which was a stupid movie anyway.
You actually saw it?
Yeah.
I saw it. I saw it in theaters. I didn't think it was that bad. You know, I mean, it. I mean, you're unless it got to like the last act, which was kind of like silly.
It was so. I don't want to be out here, but like these damn SJWs and their agenda. But oh my god, if there was a movie to point to with agenda, it is "Don't Worry, Darling."
Oh my, yeah. But like
It's literally, spoiler alert, it's literally a bunch of dudes trap their wives in a matrix that's modeled after the 1950s, so their wives would be subservient to them because they don't want their wives having these, modern sensibilities and being able to, have their own agency. That's
Yep.
literally the movie.
but see,
Yep.
the stuff that was coming out about it around the time just made me not want to watch it because there's the stuff like about like Shia LaBeouf, like apparently like Olivia Wilde like was trying to push Shyla into the movie even though like she said she fired him, but then there's like audio saying she wanted to still work with him. Then there's like the feud between like Florence Pugh and Olivia Wilde, like, and then like
And
Chris Pine looking awkward around Harry Styles.
don't forget the rumor that Harry Styles spit on Chris Pine.
Oh, sideways.
Yeah.
I don't even want to think of Harry Styles being in a Sony Spider-Man project.
Well, he's already in the MCU, so
Yeah, he's in the
Harry's-
MCU.
Harry Styles should play Harry Styles. Harry Osborn.
Oh no.
His name is.
Okay.
I mean, his name is Harry. So there you go. Harry.
Oh, my.
Harry Osborn, the movie.
They even
There you go,
brought up
Sony.
the Aunt May movie.
They did. Like, did they really?
Yeah, so other projects. Sony was considering a film centered around Mysterio by June 2017. Thank goodness that didn't happen because then we would never get him in Far From Home. December 2018, a spinoff film from the MCU Spider-Man films or the animated Spider-Verse films starring Spider-Man's Aunt May was suggested, a notion that Sony previously referred to as silly.
Oh,
even-
so you think that's silly, but you're making a Craven movie?
But yet, like they but here's the thing: this was even before the Amazing Spider-Man movies got canceled. Like these rumors were growing,
Oh my gosh!
just like crazy.
Can we get an Uncle Ben movie, please?
Uncle Ben doesn't exist. He's like dead.
Oh no,
Yeah, he's dead.
he's he's probably he's faked his death.
Oh,
Well, see, the whole Aunt May thing was a rumor. It was one of those things that was a rumor, and Sony was just like, "No, that's stupid." It was never a real project.
I think people believed it so quickly because Sony was just in a bad place at that time. Like Amazing Spider-Man 2 was not that good, and they were talking about making all these spin-off movies.
No, people believed it because people are stupid, and big YouTuber says it, and I have sources. Trust me, guys, it's gonna happen. I mean, we again, not to throw shade at any particular group, but we have a group of people on the internet who believe the Snyderverse is coming back despite all,
Oh my goodness.
evidence to the contrary. I mean, literally, the Ayer cut is coming this year. My sources tell me never happened. Right? We're in 2023. No Ayer cut.
Yeah, so like has anyone even called them out for that, by the way? It's 2023 now and no announcement was made in 2022.
They did. They called them out on Twitter, but of course they always go, "Well, things change." You don't understand, guys. With the shakeup, things have changed, and wheels are in motion, and things move all the time.
See, the thing is, like Venom kind of worked because Venom's a popular enough character and has other characters that you can like make a series of movies with.
Right.
Well, I mean, you could have a series of movies with Craven. There's so many animal-based characters that Craven can go around hunting. You could have a whole series of movies.
You definitely can't make a series of movies with Hypno Hustler.
Do you know what we need? A Flash Thompson movie.
No.
Yeah. Well, I don't see it. Okay, so give me the logic behind so Hypno Hustler. I can understand it. Like, oh, we want to throw him in a movie or something, right?
Yeah.
But if there's no Spider-Man, who's gonna stop him? Right? Is he the good guy of the movie? Like he's a criminal. It's kind of the good guy in the movie, right?
Hypno Hustler. This ain't that some shit?
So I just don't see how it's gonna work, right? It would be like I said, it would be interesting for like a what if, or like a one off like special. Like
But
on
here's the
Disney
thing,
Plus.
according to it, and I know I shouldn't like always use Wikipedia as source, but like he's gotten negative reviews according to it, and has been kind of like ranked as one of the worst supervillains due to its outdated 1970s camp factor.
Oh yeah, I mean,
Maybe it should take place in 1970s. There you go. There'll be
So
no
like
negative reviews.
this is a character that's like not even like all that well received.
not well received, not popular, obscure, and again, I don't see how if he's the main focus of the movie, I don't see how you could spin it where he's the hero, right?
It's just like I don't get Sony's mindset at all.
I think their mindset was Donald Glover said, "Hey, I want to do this," and they go, "Oh shit, Donald Glover wants to do this? Okay."
But it's
Well,
like
they,
he's already Aaron Davis in the MCU. A Prowler movie would make more sense at this point than doing a Hypno Hustler film.
Yeah, but if he goes, "This is what I want to do," and you're Sony, and you go, "Well, he's popular. He just came off of it. What Atlanta? People like Donald Glover. Whatever you want,
It's just, like, so
right? It'd be like if Tom Cruise walked into Sony right now and said, "Guys, I want to do a movie based on the kangaroo." Well, fuck it, whatever you want, Tom Cruise. Go ahead.
the kangaroo.
so
Oh
like,
my-
so is Tom Cruise really gonna go find a kangaroo in real life? There you go.
No, there's a villain called the Kangaroo in the
Oh,
Marvel.
isn't that the
I'm
Wages of
gonna,
Losers?
I'll show it to you. I'm gonna get out of this one,
He's
and
had
I'm gonna
several
show it.
incarnations. He had like a mech suit type thing at one point.
Oh,
Boy,
My
I'm
only-
You
saying
know,
is-
Kangaroo was an interesting villain back in the day.
my only thing is that I need like an interview with like Tom Rothman or Avi Arad to see what they're thinking, what their thought process of doing this whole universe thing. Like, what are they?
money.
What, of course, money, but at least something else in that.
That's it. I don't think they have a thought process behind. I want to make money. We have rights to these characters because originally, right, they were just gonna make Spider-Man movie, and they got all these characters to go in as part of their Spider-Man movies, right?
Yeah.
But then at some point they said, "Wait a minute. Well, we have these characters, and we could make other movies with them. Well, fuck it. Why don't we?"
Could you imagine seeing this in live action, Blue Jay?
I mean, I've seen worse. I mean, have you seen the Razor Blade dude from Shang-Chi? I mean, the
Razor
original
Fist?
Razor Fist. I mean, have you seen the dude with the original costume? I mean, imagine that live action.
Oh my! Yeah, no, this was a very interesting time in the comics.
Well, I mean, they could do a whole like wrestling league because there's a bunch of characters that are in the Universal Wrestling Federation, unlimited class wrestling. That's what it's called in the Marvel universe. So they could do
Yeah.
like all the different wrestler characters.
Yeah, I remember when Hobby Brown was also Prowler, but I think the MCU is gonna probably be Aaron Davis since that character's already introduced.
Yeah, but isn't Hobie Brown like the nephew of Aaron Davis or cousin or something?
Yeah, I know. I'm pretty sure he's related.
So you could have the two different versions of the Prowler.
Yeah, no, Kangaroo. I remember like Kangaroo in the comics.
Boomerang. You
think-
could have Kangaroo and Boomerang, and they could be like an Australian tag team.
You know about that villain, Blue Jay?
What was the name again?
Boomerang.
He's a
I'm gonna
retired
show you.
Australian baseball player who throws boomerangs.
Who came first, Captain Boomerang or just Boomerang?
I think Captain Boomerang came first. Pretty sure. I mean, you could
Oh.
have the Sinister Syndicate, Boomerang, Beetle, Speed Demon.
But then there was a time, but then like what happened in the comics was like one of the Boomerang became a friend of Spider-Man's.
Oh wow, it's almost like a chicken and an egg type thing. Which came first, man? Like Boomerang or Captain Boomerang?
What's your thoughts on Spider-Man getting a third trilogy? Let's see what his second one is first. But I don't know. I don't think MCU Peter Parker needs a third trilogy. Anyone agree or disagree?
Oh, I thought she was talking. Well, A third man. We got so
Third
many.
trilogy.
Third
Yeah,
trilogy. That's what Blinded Braille asked.
Has
I
he
think
even had
he's.
a second trilogy?
I think
Yeah,
he's talking. I think he's talking about like the Raimi trilogy, the Homecoming trilogy,
Well, I guess Andrew Garfield's the only one without a trilogy.
right? And then
Yeah.
we're getting already gained the the Spider Verse trilogy with, and that's crazy. Poor guy, poor Andrew Garfield. I feel
Yeah,
bad for that.
he ain't ever gonna get that third Spider-Man movie.
No, I'll campaign it.
I feel like, yeah, he means Tom Holland.
Oh, okay, yeah.
They're
I
gonna
could
have to
see
offer
him.
Holland a
I'll
crazy contract, in my opinion.
I'll have him just do 2 trilogies. I don't see him doing 10 different Spider-Man movies.
I mean, I can see him doing it. It all depends on, you know, where they're going to go with the villains. Are they going to build up something? Is it just every villain going to be a one-off and then move on to the next
Yeah,
one?
and also here's the thing, because I feel like Sony's limiting like what villains the MCU can use, because apparently the MCU wanted to use Black Cat, but because of Sony, it's not gonna happen.
Well, Sony was stupid. If that report is true, Sony is so fucking dumb. I mean, you would
Right.
have so much leverage. Wouldn't you be like, okay, you want to use the Black Cat? Well, what obscure Marvel character can we have in exchange for the Black Cat? Right? Let's talk numbers. What can we do?
I mean, I can see like if they do a third MCU Spider-Man trilogy, I can see them giving a trilogy to Miles Morales, though.
I already got that. It's called Spider Verse.
Yeah, Sony has been stupid for 20 years.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, like here's the thing, like their Spider-Man 4 with like the original Sam Raimi Spider-Man 4, like they were gonna have like another love triangle between Spider-Man, Mary Jane, and Felicia Hardy. Like Felicia Hardy was gonna be the Vulture's daughter.
That would be dumb. The Vulture daughter part.
It's like you don't need it. Like you don't need it. You don't need any more Spider-Man love drama anymore.
Well,
No.
that's what the comic is. Oh, excuse me. He's had a lot of love drama in the comics. For being a complete nerd, he picks up like the hottest chicks in Marvel.
I mean that is kind of true. Like he does have like he's always like dating someone. You know, there's Gwen Stacy, there's Mary Jane, there's Felicia Hardy.
Gwen
Yo,
Stacy
people,
is the most popular girl in school. Dates
yo,
her.
people
Mary
forgot.
Jane's a literal model. Dates and marries her.
You know, people forgotten like the really early days of like the Spider-Man comics. Like Peter was like seeing Betty Brant.
Yeah, he was a
Like
pimp. Betty Brant, Felicia Hardy.
yo, in like the Spectacular Spider-Man like cartoon, he was dating Liz Allen.
I think he briefly dated her in the comics too.
Yeah, that I think that was like it was like very like short lived. But like he like oh, and then like Carly Cooper like after like Brand New Day.
You know what they should do for the Andrew Garfield movie? They should incorporate the storyline with Norman Osborn's kids, and say that Gwen Stacy was pregnant and she had a secret baby,
Oh my
like in the
goodness.
comics, and bring in the Grey Goblin.
That would like freak people out, I think.
That was so dumb that I don't
Yeah.
understand writers. Like, yes, what we're gonna say is, remember that chick that Spider-Man was in love with, and it was the love is his life. Yeah, well, she secretly had an affair with Norman Osborn, had a baby.
Oh my God.
It was born in Europe, but the baby had the Goblin formula in it, so it grew up really fast. And now it's a
What?
villain.
Yeah,
I'm like,
I agree with Blind Braille. Like Avia Red like caused a lot of this like bullshit. And yeah, like remember he got special thanks at the end of No Way Home.
Well, I mean, he did a lot of good. He was producing the cartoons and stuff. I think
Yeah, like
he helped them
here's
with their merchandising when they were
the
struggling.
thing is like the early days he did very good. But then it's like I felt like his ego kind of took over because he pushed like Sam Raimi to throw Venom in Spider-Man 3 when Raimi clearly had no interest in that character.
Well, he's a popular character.
True, but it's like I feel like pushing him like and like so soon like that clearly caused issues with Spider-Man 3. And yeah, since past did suck.
like, do you, like when it comes to Avi or Rad, like, do You probably don't know this. Do you know he produced the Brass movie?
I remember hearing about that.
Wow. Well, I mean, wasn't he really? He was really big with whoever it was the merchandising. Was it Mattel or somebody?
Yeah.
And by the way, for people that forgot, there was a Bratz movie.
Yeah, I saw commercials
And
of it.
Aaron had the worst ideas. It's revisionist history. Lots of other producers had come in and make decisions over him, even back in the Toby trilogy.
Yeah,
I didn't even know there was a Bratz movie.
yeah.
Yeah, no, this was like it was forgotten, like because it was so bad.
I don't know what ideas he had. I just know that he helped produce the cartoon, and I was like, okay. Couldn't
Yeah,
be that bad.
But there was like talks that apparently he only cared about the cartoon to sell toys.
Yeah, because he was a big toy guy.
I think he owned a. He's a CEO of a company called Toy Biz.
Yeah. Oh, I remember Toy Biz. I remember I used to shop there when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Because I remember like the mall, like one of the nearby malls at my house when I lived in Pennsylvania. Like they had a toy. They had that toy store in the mall.
He was also the founder of Marvel Studios. I mean, come on, he couldn't have been all bad. Without him, we probably wouldn't be where we're at right now.
I feel like the first half of his career was better, but then like the second half, like he got very egotistic and like here's the thing, he was a producer, executive producer on like Iron Man, the Incredible Hulk, but he never thought the MCU would work as an idea. So he had a fallout with Kevin Feige.
Well, I don't want to be like the guy who's like an avid fucking apologist, right?
No, make
I don't
your
want to be
case.
that guy. But when the MCU, if you look at the original pitch for the MCU, right? Remember, they didn't have all these characters. Iron Man wasn't even considered, right? Because they didn't have the rights to Iron Man when they first were like, we're gonna do an Avengers. Right? Remember, it was gonna be like Hulk, Shang-Chi, Daredevil. It was gonna be like a bunch of weird characters that were gonna be the Avengers. It wasn't gonna be the characters that we know and love. But as they made the movies, they slowly started getting the rights back, so they started making more and more movies, and that's how they ended up with the Avengers that we appreciate. So I think if you pitched me the original idea to the Avengers, I'd laugh at you like, "Oh, Power Pack in the Avengers? What are you talking about?"
Yeah, the Bratz movie, I forgot that like that was a thing. I think he was also a producer on those Ghost Rider movies. Because they were Sony owned.
Avi Arad and Mike Perlmutter killed Marvel. I don't know about all that. There's so many things like from where we're sitting, we can go, yeah, they made bad decisions, right? But we don't know why they made those decisions.
What if Avi Arad appears in the chat?
Oh my goodness.
I created Marvel. I saved the company.
That would be crazy. I mean, I already had like all those like famous people like show up in my chat on Tuesday.
Yeah, I mean, he helped Marvel emerge from bankruptcy and expand the company's profile through licensing. So I mean, again, right? I'm not an Avi Arad.
Avi Arad.
Whatever, however you pronounce it.
No, I get what you're saying. But yeah, it's like I feel like they're like some of these characters that'd be good for Spider-Man are not even gonna be in Spider-Man movies.
Well, because it's I think Sony knows that if they put a character in a Spider-Man movie, that it's tied to the MCU, and then now they're limited what they can do with that character, right?
Yeah.
And that's why they had to do the whole like, oh look, the Vulture somehow got sent over to the Morbius universe, right? Like because like they couldn't do nothing with him because it basically like Marvel's like, no, now he's tied to the MCU. Whatever you do, because if you did another movie with the Vulture, right? Everyone's like, well, the Vulture's in the MCU, so that movie has to be in the MCU, right?
Well,
yeah.
There you go, George.
Yeah, that would make sense. It's just like, man, Michael Keaton, like he's had an interesting year. Like he thought he was gonna be like the Batman of the DCEU after the Flash. Batgirl got canceled. His Batman Beyond film that we found out last minute got canceled. But hey, he's got the spot. He's got the Sonyverse.
Like my only thing is that like Sony, they think they're like there's a lot of S card just went by.
Oh wow.
Ooh, all that stuff. But like Sony, I mean, oh, just because Marvel's using those characters, I mean that they doesn't mean they can't use those characters again. Because like that's what I've been saying. Like make Spider Verse their mainline films. Like they are, dude. They're planning like spin-offs with that franchise, anyways. Because they're planning a Spider Gwen movie. To be fair, I want to see movies from that universe and whatever if Morbius or Craven or anything, because I feel like those seem like actual good movies because they're actually produced by people that knows what the fuck to do.
The thing is that like Sony cares about the money, because as phenomenal as Into the Spider-Verse was, it was the lowest grossing Spider-Man movie.
Well, it still made profit. I
Yeah,
mean,
it made
like,
profit, but it's like if you look at 2018, Venom and Into the Spider-Verse came out. Venom made a lot of money despite the mixed response it got.
yeah, yeah. Look, watch. I guarantee you that Across the Spider Verse is gonna come out. It's gonna. I can. It's gonna make. It's gonna outgrow the first one. I can guarantee you that. Like, there's the hype is already there. People love the first one. I mean, look, June. I mean, my only concern is that June is already a packed month as it
Yeah.
is, but it's the first movie to come out on that month, so it's gonna, have a bigger opening weekend. I'm hoping it does, and then we'll see. It can. I can see it making at the very least $500 million. We'll say that. I don't think it hit a billion, but if it hits a billion, there you
What?
go. If
Spider Verse?
Yeah, I mean, and I'm not saying it's going to hit a billion, but I'm saying like at the very least,
What did the
do
last one
more
make?
three like over 300 million. But that movie came out like where you got Bumblebee, Aquaman, Mary Poppins. Like it's like a crap ton of movies that came out that month in that particular year. So I'm hoping Across the Spider Verse can at the very least outgross the first one, and then they don't even have to just say like, "Oh, let's make a movie about Craven the Hunter." We can just make movies on there.
No, Craven the Hunter's already made, so.
Yeah, it was already made, but at least movies are not like El Muerto. Like we're making stupid
But
characters like that.
I don't think it's a stupid character. I'll explain why I don't think it's a stupid character in a minute. But
Oh no,
but
not no, not
Blinded's comment here is so off base, right?
Which
From a
one?
fan, this one, the Tim Rothman, the Amy Pascal, and Avi Arad out of the Spider-Man, one up.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, I saw that blind braille. So like, yeah, he basically said he's gonna take Amy Pascal over Abby Red
Yeah,
because
that one right there.
obviously,
That one is why I have issue with this one. Right, look, from a fan perspective, 100%, I want Spider-Man in the MCU, right? But if I'm Sony, I want to make all the fucking money, right? And if I go, why do I don't want to split profits with Marvel. I want to do my own thing. The first three Spider-Man movies made good money. The second two were, they made all right. You could make Spider-Man movies out of the MCU, you know, and make big money. So why wouldn't you? You have all the leverage. He's the most popular Marvel character. You have all the leverage. Why wouldn't you use it?
it's like, but I would get the thing is like I seen like the two Spider-Man movies that made $1 billion worldwide have been MCU movies. So
Yeah, but did they make money because they were in the MCU or because the MCU exists?
see that's a good question, because on one hand, like the MCU brand is strong, and but Spider-Man's also a popular character. Yeah, that is true. MCU Spider-Man was more successful for Sony
Yeah, but
because
again, let's say that he wasn't in the MCU, right? But they made the movies in the same time frame. That they came out in the same time frame. Just we're not in the MCU because of the success of the MCU. People would have been going to see. More people are into superhero movies. They would have went and seen Spider Man. Again, there's really no like you have to see these movies to be invested in the MCU, or you have to watch the MCU to be invested in the Spider-Man movies. He just kind of exists in the MCU. So I think if you made those movies without the MCU connections, and they were released in the time frame when superhero movies were super popular, they'd still make all kind of money. Could you imagine No Way Home still, with the three Spider-Mans, but no connection to the MCU? Why wouldn't it make a billion?
Oh yeah, that definitely would have made $1 billion.
That thing almost made $2 billion. Like that's crazy.
They're more successful, but I don't think it's necessarily because he's in the MCU that they're more successful. I just think they're more successful because we're in the era of, oh my god, superhero movies are so awesome, everyone let's go see them, right?
And
a
then
lot of
also,
people complained. Remember, a lot of people complained about Iron Man being in Spider-Man movie, about how he's little Tony Stark in the movie, blah 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 blah.
Iron Boy Jr. whatever.
Oh my goodness, I can't believe No Way Home actually like took that to heart and was like, "Yo, we're gonna make an article."
So get rid of that, right? So that was like one of the major complaints. So if he wasn't in the MCU, you wouldn't have that whole storyline. It's gone.
Oh, and also, I wouldn't say that animated movies have been doing bad at the box office. It depends on, like, I get what you're saying about Lightyear. Lightyear cost $200 million. It didn't need to cost that much, to be honest with you. I mean, it did pretty bad. But but look at Minions. That movie made $1 billion.
Minions did very well. The problem is that Pixar, people were getting very comfortable, I think, with Pixar just going on Disney Plus.
Yeah,
during
that
the pandemic, and Lightyear was like the first Pixar film to return in theaters.
He said, wait. He said the Amazing Spider-Man 2 bombed. According to what I'm seeing, it made $500 million off of its budget.
But
it said the box office was $709 million. If $709 million is a bomb, I'll take that every day. You want to give me that money?
Here's the thing. I wouldn't say it was a bomb, but it underperformed because it had.
How much was it supposed to perform? It made $709 million.
Here's the thing. It made less than all the other Spider-Man movies.
Well, like it was the lowest grossing Spider-Man movie before Spider-Verse, but that Spider-Man 2, the Amazing Spider-Man 2 cost like $293 million. 200
Yeah, it did. But here's the thing, right? You want to say that it underperformed. But it wasn't a good movie, right?
Yeah.
We could all agree to that Amazing Spider-Man 2 was not a good movie. The storyline was kind of shitty. The whole thing with the Goblin, they were throwing in way too many villains. It wasn't great. Sorry, I didn't like Jamie Foxx's his portrayal of Electro.
I do.
I preferred it in No Way Home.
Yeah, in No Way Home it was good, but in Amazing Spider-Man 2, where he was all like nerdy, Peter, I love you so much. Why don't you love me?
They play that cartoon music.
Yeah, no, that shit was stupid. And I saw it in the theater. I see every Marvel movie in the theater.
Yeah, I remember seeing it in theaters. I remember some lady sitting behind me breaking down in tears when Gwen Stacy died. Like I remember it.
I mean, it's a good scene though. I was
yeah, no, that wasn't funny, but it was like, good lord, like she was like this lady was like taking it really hard.
Maybe it was Emma Stone's mom.
No, it was before I moved to New York. It was like when I lived in Pennsylvania.
New York isn't real.
Not real.
There was a lot of problems with with Amazing Spider-Man 3. Like apparently they're gonna bring people back from the dead.
Then Andrew walked after the movie. Yeah.
Yo, like that.
Look at Amazing Spider-Man 2 made the lowest, right? But the first Tom Holland movie only made $880. It didn't make that much more money.
But here's the thing: I think it had a smaller budget than Amazing Spider-Man 2.
But I think it had a smaller budget because Marvel was helping. I think that budget's
and also like at the
right.
time it was the second highest grossing Spider-Man movie after Spider-Man 3.
Yeah, which again shows how much the Spider-Man brand is that popular, right? Even shitty Spider-Man movies are making good money.
Well, here's the thing. I think good word of mouth will obviously play a role. Like hearing, oh, a Spider-Man movie that's great since like the first two Raimi movies is out. Go see it.
And again, Spider-Man, the Homecoming came out in what 2017.
Yeah, 2017.
Where it had the benefit of the MCU existing. The second Amazing Spider-Man was what 2014,
Yeah.
something like that. There
It,
really was no MCU at that point.
MCU was like in phase two in 2014, but it also came out with like the two best received MCU movies, Winter Soldier and Guardians of the Galaxy. But here's the thing, they spread it out a lot better. So Winter Soldier came out the beginning of April, and then like Guardians came out in August. You also had X-Men Days of Futures Past. That came out like a few weeks after Amazing Spider-Man 2. Like things I think were more spread out back then because there weren't as many movies. There were no DC movies that came out that year. Yeah, I remember
Um,
that story. Amy Pascal threw a sandwich at Kevin Feige.
I would like to see that on camera.
I mean,
Yeah, I
Thor: The
remember
Dark
like,
World only made 644 million, right? So Spider-Man did better than Thor: The Dark World.
well, that makes sense because like Spider-Man, with or without the MCU, will always be a strong brand.
It only made a couple. Uh, with Winter Soldier only made 714. Spider-Man made 709. So again, it was performing basically what was around the things at the time.
So
I mean,
yeah,
Ant Man only did 519, and that came out the following year.
so George, I think I'm gonna head out.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna be ending the stream soon, anyways.
Yeah, so I'm gonna head out.
Yeah, but
It's nice talking with you. So I just put my channel on the private chat.
yeah.
So
So yeah, guys, go sub to Blue Jay if you haven't already. Blue Jay, you got any upcoming videos you want to share or projects?
not really. I mean, this
He's
is
got one subscriber.
I know that's my new channel. I made a separate channel.
Uh,
Yeah, so it's mostly just dedicated to reviews or whatever. Mostly just that kind of stuff. So yeah, I mean it's nice talking with y'all. It's pretty fun. So I'll probably I'll see y'all like whenever Max streams, or well he's streaming right now, so I
Yeah,
might
he's
not.
streaming right now. He's talking about Tron 3.
boo.
Oh,
I guess I'll pop over to Max's stream.
Yeah, because
oh
I'm probably gonna like end it soon. But like, yeah, Blind Braille brought up like how Amazing Spider-Man did underperform just like BVS. I feel like there were more expectations for BVS, to be fair.
Well, yeah,
yeah.
I think so too. I agree. I'm not saying that Amazing Spider-Man 2 did phenomenally well. I'm just saying it did decent money. And the movie, again, the movie was just bad, right? If it was a good movie and you're like, man, this was a really good Spider-Man movie, it just underperformed. There's not a lot of people like that were clamoring for a third movie after that movie. A lot of people weren't talking about how great it was. There was no word of mouth.
All right.
BVS,
I'll
as
see
much as
ya.
I don't like it,
That's it, Blue Jay.
See ya.
there's a lot of people who you know, who like BVS. I don't like BVS personally, but there are a lot of people who like BVS, and so that movie underperforming kind of stung.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. This was a good stream. Yeah, yeah, I definitely would like to have Tony on more. And I always have Blue Jay on.
I
But
just
yeah, no,
happened to
I
see
think I'm also.
the link and I popped in.
Oh yeah, no, it's all good. It's all good. But yeah, I think I'm gonna end it here as well. We're almost at the 2 hour mark. Thank you all for watching. Tony, if you want, you can put your channel in the private chat, and I'll put it in the
Nah, don't
link.
even worry about it.
What?
Don't even worry about it.
Well, I'll put your channel in anyways.
Now you're gonna make me have to find my own channel. Man. Nah, here it is.
Yeah, no, this was like a fun like discussion on Spider-Man. Yeah, take care, Sideways 52. And like, if you guys want, like, Max is having a stream on Tron, so if you guys want to go over there, go ahead. And I'm gonna put Tony's channel. Private chat. Tony, are there any projects you want to share that are coming up?
Not really. I keep saying I'm gonna do stuff, and I think I'm biting off more than I can chew, and my expectations for what I'm going to accomplish are a lot higher than what I'm actually able to do. I'm probably going to be streaming tomorrow morning, some more Maneater, and just chilling.
Nice. As for me, I'm planning on doing a stream Sunday on like Kevin Smith's View of Universe. I'm gonna rank those movies from my least favorite to favorite, and I want to do my last basketball movie review with The Way Back at some point next week, and maybe review Man of Steel before January ends. But yeah, in the meantime, take care, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. Thanks to Tony and Blue Jay for coming on. And I hope see you all real soon. And don't forget to subscribe and like this if you haven't already. Take care, everyone.
Peace.